The self-declared Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh will cease to exist from next year after its president signed a decree dissolving state institutions following its defeat by Azerbaijan. And in the latest, Azerbaijan Security Service on Thursday released footage of former top official in the separatist ethnic Armenian administration of Nagorno-Karabakh after detention. However, it was not immediately clear where and when the footage was shot. The top official shown in the visuals is escorted in prison-like facility and then filmed sitting behind a table. The top official is a billionaire investment banker and served as the head of Karabakh's separatist government between November 2022 and February this year. Azerbaijan, in a statement, said that he was detained as he tried to flee from Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia. The Azerbaijani victory last week triggered a huge exodus of ethnic Armenians living in Nagorno-Karabakh and marked the end of decades of conflict and potentially the end of centuries of Armenian presence in the region. The president of the Republic of Artsakh's decree called for all institutions and organizations to dissolve from the 1st of January 2024. As of now, about 70,500 refugees have fled Nagorno-Karabakh for Armenia in a matter of days after Azerbaijan's lightning offensive. That is about 85% of the 120,000 ethnic Armenians who had lived in the troubled enclave until last week. The U.S. State Department previously urged Azerbaijan's president to refrain from further hostilities in the region, provide assurances to its residents, and allow access to an international observer mission.
Number one, we want to see the ceasefire maintained. Number two, we want to see humanitarian needs addressed. That means keeping the Lachin corridor open. It means ensuring that humanitarian supplies can come in. And that it means an international monitoring mission to ensure that humanitarian needs are addressed.
Meanwhile, the death toll from a fuel depot explosion and the fire was recorded in the dozens. According to the Office of Karabakh's Ombudsman, more than 105 people remained missing and hundreds were reported injured. The video released by Russia's Defense Ministry showed its personnel bringing the injured to the hospital, and authorities are yet to explain a possible cause of the blast. And for more on this, Glenn Dizin, who is the Professor of International Relations at the University of Southeastern Norway, joining us live. Thanks very much for being here on the broadcast. What is your assessment of the situation at this point, and where do you think things are headed?
Well, obviously, this is a humanitarian tragedy. As mentioned, the vast majority of Armenians who have lived there for centuries have now fled Nagorno-Karabakh, and the region will more or less be dissolved, the administrative region, that is. So I think that this also reflects not just the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, but it's also a wider geopolitical conflict, because what Armenia did Pashinyan did by recognizing Nagorno-Karabakh to be Azerbaijani territory, he effectively cancelled the whole arrangement they had with Russia as a peacekeeper, because once the Azerbaijani sent in the army, it wasn't really much that Russia could say, given that Pashinyan had already acknowledged that this was Azerbaijani territory. So it's seen as a wider effort to push Armenia towards the US and the EU. And of course, there's a lot of regional actors, Turkey, Iran, Russia. So there will be a lot of disruptions. So I don't think this conflict is necessarily over, as it has a regional dimension as well.
What about the fear of persecution and ethnic cleansing that the Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh have at this point, and the various reports pointing towards that as well?
Yeah, well, there's been, of course, a lot of animosity. It's been fighting together against each other. So So it is a horrible humanitarian dimension here, and I don't think it gets enough attention. When you read a lot of headlines in American media, it more or less focuses on geopolitics, that this is a blow to Russia, if you will, because both Armenia and Azerbaijan are friendly with Russia. So, he couldn't really take one side against the other, at least not after Nagorno-Karabakh was seceded. So there tends to be a huge geopolitical focus, which is very unfortunate, because in such incidents, the human tragedies tend to be overlooked, as it appears to be in this instance as well.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for being here on the broadcast and helping us with those perspectives. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.